And we want to welcome a friend to the show back. He's a former NFL head coach, our man, Hue Jackson. Hue, Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year to both of you guys. How you doing?
We are great, man. We are great. And it is your former team, one of your former teams, the Browns, obviously making the playoffs for the first time since 2002. But, man, what a bad stroke of luck has hit them with Kevin Stefanski, a couple other coaches.
I thought it was 2007. Is it 2002?
I thought it was 2002. Yes, 2002,
yeah.
I believe.
Okay.
But, yeah, no head coach, maybe some players missing. But how big of a deal is it that you can't have your head coach there? And, you know, the rule, Hugh, is it's not like he can be at home or sitting up in a box at the stadium calling plays. Like, no input from him on game day.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult challenge. I mean, we can say what we want, but COVID did not have an answer for when you lose coaches. You know,
right.
So there's not anybody you can bring up from the practice squad to go be the head coach. So this is going to be different and difficult. They lost their best offensive lineman at left guard, Joe Patonio, and like you mentioned, a couple other players. So, I mean, I know they were very excited to get to the game, but this is not how they wanted to experience their first playoff game.
But you know, I know the Steelers are the favorite, obviously, but that team struggled. I called them the worst 11-0 team, and then they went through that really bad 4-game stretch. I know they won their last game before they, didn't play everybody against the Browns in the final game. But I've seen some raggedy and some bad Pittsburgh as well.
Oh, absolutely. They were not playing very well. Losing the 3 games in a row, that was tough. And they didn't play very well in the first half of the Colts game neither.
Right.
But they found a way to get the ship righted. I was surprised that a lot of their guys didn't play in the last game. But at the same time, I do understand the guys that they strategically took out. But my biggest concern is when you look at Cleveland, here's the 3rd time you're going to play this team, and you just played them, and your place where you put everything into the game plan and into the game to win the game, you win the game 22-24 against their backups. And now that's in your mind. That's in your head. So when you go to Pittsburgh this week, you got to be asking yourself, they're going to play with all their guys now. What is that going to look like? That could be a very different thought and feeling for the Cleveland Browns.
Hugh, we saw Devontae Smith from Alabama win the Heisman. They say he might be the lightest guy ever to do it, like 175 pounds. He is awesome. There's no doubt about it, and he was just terrific.
But they
this
had
year.
3 players in the top 5. Alabama, right?
The quarterback and the running back. But that size, and I know he's a burner, but does that concern you at the next level that he's so small?
It does, but I mean, you got to protect him. Sometimes you got to protect those kind of guys for themselves. And these guys come into the National Football League at 175, but does he have the ability to get to 180, 183, 185, whatever that is? Because he's going to need to, because he plays a position with his speed and his tenacity and toughness to where that's going to put him in harm's way a little bit. So he's going to have to learn some other skills when he gets to the league to take care of himself so that he can be of value to an organization.
Hugh, I want to ask you about the Miami Dolphins, who did not make the playoffs. Tua didn't play well. The way they handled him makes me feel like they don't have the most confidence in him. Maybe they were just trying to make the play. He's supposed to be a first-round pick, a guy who could be a franchise quarterback, had success in college, and they're putting in a journeyman every chance they get in a tough spot, to replace him. Now they have the number 3 pick. Is there any chance Miami takes a quarterback and maybe punts on Tua?
I don't think so, Rob. When I look at that situation, if you really go study it, it was really interesting because the plays that were called for the veteran quarterback isn't the same type of offense that was called for the young player. And if you really are following this to the nth degree, Chan Gailey just decided to hang it up.
Right.
There's something into that, I believe. I've been in this long enough to know when you have a young quarterback and a coordinator who's been in the business a long time that you brought back who have been out of the business for a long time.
Right.
there's something that wasn't meshing there. So I think you'll see a different Tua next year. I think they feel comfortable and confident that he's their quarterback. They made that decision. But at the same time, there were some times there that there were signs that, boy, do they really believe in him.
Yeah, that's just the way I got it. Because I'm like, how are you going to learn to make those big plays and big moments, right, if you're putting in a journeyman who's never made the playoffs? I know he's better and more polished, but you know what I mean, Hue?
Yeah. You got to give him. You got to give him those game reps in those situations, no doubt.
I think all of us will be surprised if Aaron Rodgers doesn't win the MVP, but Derrick Henry goes for over 2,000 yards, only the 8th running back to ever do that. Do you think it's right nowadays that the MVP is almost always
turned into the best quarterback in the league award?
It's rarely going to go to somebody else at another position. Do you think that's how it should be?
No, just like the Heisman Trophy. It went to a receiver this year. I think who is the most valuable player in this league? And there's no doubt that Aaron Rodgers is a tremendous player, and you have just made a strong case for why Derrick Henry should be considered and should be a really close race. But I still think that people keep, leaving out Patrick Mahomes because everybody said he's already won it. It's almost like Michael Jordan all those years where he should have won the MVP and he didn't win it because people wanted to average 50 a game.
But wait a minute, but Hugh, I disagree with you from this standpoint. Hold on, I want to. We just had somebody from football. What was it?
Pro Football
Focus, and Patrick Mahomes was ranked as the 4th best quarterback in the league via his stats. And I'm just going to say this:
Tom Brady was second.
He didn't lead
he didn't much stock into that.
He didn't lead. He didn't lead in any major category this year. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he was a bum or he didn't play well, but the numbers do not suggest. I think Derrick Henry should be
But Rob,
MVP
that's what I'm saying. You just validated what I'm talking about. We're now making it. The numbers better be great. This guy was 13-1 or 14-1. 14-1. This is a team that's going back to repeat for the Super Bowl without his 2 best offensive tackles. And he's still winning games.
Yeah, but I would give you the argument that Aaron Rodgers
lead the league in yards per game.
Put up way better numbers. He was missing Devontae Adams for 3 games, Aaron Jones for 3 games, doesn't have nearly the weapons, and the Packers won the number 1 seed in the NFC, and only a 1 game less than Kansas City.
So what weapon does Aaron Rodgers not have that Patrick Mahomes has? Other than the tight end, is that what you're saying?
He's got a better running game.
And tight end.
No. They don't have a better. They don't have a better running game. The Packers have a better running game.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about not having your weapons. Those guys for 3 games each.
Well, let's not have your tackles for 5 or 6 games. Let's not have Sammy Watkins for about 5 games too.
So
come on now. I mean,
Go ahead.
You got to look at that, Rob. I'm telling you, this guy, we are expecting way too much from what the MVP is, and people can't see because we're talking about numbers. Patrick Mahomes is delivering. He's 14-1.
Hugh, he didn't have a bad game. His bad game, he threw for almost 300 yards.
He played against Atlanta and had a 79 quarterback rating.
300 yards and threw the game-winning touchdown
for
500
yards against Atlanta. Stop it.
Do we understand how hard it is to repeat, to come back in year 2 and be the hunted and be 14-1 when they decide not to let you play the last game of the year? Do we understand what that's like, that pressure on a football team? You got to tip your hat to
I'll sit right here now, Hugh, and say he doesn't finish in the top 2. That'll be Aaron Rodgers and Derrick Henry as the top 2. He'll be 3rd in the voting if he gets any votes.
And that would be sad. To me, that's a sad situation because this guy has played. You go look at the game-winning drives. There's so many times. I think there was 4 games this year, and they lost 1 to the Raiders, and 1 last week. But you take 4 games where they were behind. There's no way Kansas City's going to win this game. Who won the game? Patrick Mahomes. Go back to the Super Bowl. What was the conversation on the sideline? Patrick Mahomes. We're going to win this game.
We just had Pro Football Focus. They talked about that he's also had more. What do they call those plays, Chris? Where people
I'm not helping you out on this.
Yeah, dropped interception. He had 22 of those where guys like he threw a game-ending pick that was dropped that they include in these stats.
You know what's so funny, Rob?
That's all I know.
Think about what you're saying, Rob. Think about what they're saying. Hey, I know Pro Football Focus got to sell what they sell. They didn't make the interception. They didn't make it. So we can't hold that against them. Well, how many of those guys? I'm sure those guys had balls everybody touched too.
Thank you. Great.
I'm not
stuff,
saying,
Hue.
but they
great
keep stats
wisdom.
of it, and he wasn't great. I'm just going to say this, Hue. He was not the MVP this year. He's a great player. It's not a what do you call it? A lifetime achievement award because we like him. He had 50 touchdowns his first year, 26 last year, and this year he had 38. He was not the MVP.
Wow. So So they win the Super Bowl again.
No, the Super Bowl is after the season. This is a regular season award. It's a regular season award.
I respect that, but I'm saying this guy wins the Super Bowl again. He will have 2 Super Bowls, an MVP. What else you want this guy to do?
Nothing. I have nothing against that. And if he loses, then what? I'm just talking about this year, the regular season. That's all.
Yeah, and I respect that. I know Aaron Rodgers has had a bang. Look, he has the most touchdown passes. He's done some great things. And, boy, everybody thought because they drafted the quarterback, he's done his deal. I get it. But what happened? And I get it. Like you said, that's going to be before the season's out. We'll know who the MVP is. But it's going to be interesting. Let's see if the Pack can go win a Super Bowl.
Right. All right, Hue, great stuff. Thank you for the wisdom. I'm going to pick Rob Parker up off the ground.
I'm good. Me and Hue would go at it anytime. I want Hue for an hour. This segment ain't long enough for me. All right, Hue, happy New Year.
Great stuff, man. Thank you, brother.
Take care.
Yep. iCouple Fox Sports Radio. Keep it locked.